Mark Berggren here with Schwing America, and today we are going to walk around the S38SX. This particular machine has our 2023-5 pump kit with MROC valve. This pump kit outputs 179 cubic yards per hour at 27 strokes per minute, with max pressure on concrete being 1100 psi. This machine can also be ordered with the 2525H-6 pump kit and BROC valve, and that pump kit outputs 213 cubic yards an hour at 22 strokes per minute, with max pressure on concrete being 1169 psi. So those long strokes means less wear and also fuel savings. The S38SX has a 5-section roll and fold boom with 230 degrees of articulation on the tip section. We have the SX style outriggers up front, and the turret can be rotated 730 degrees. Twin wall Super 3000 pipeline is used on both the boom and the deck. As we walk our way around the machine and we move into the cab, we have our SCC in-cab controller that allows us to switch between pumping and driving modes. It displays our PTO hours, and we can also raise and lower any optional booster axles. At the front of the machine, we have our 120-gallon hydraulic tank, and that is integrated into the subframe. And that has a blow-off valve that blows cool air across the top of the tank, and that helps to reduce condensation. So you can see our cleanout cover and our level gauge and the drain below that. And this machine also has our optional onboard filtration system. That's the canister right in front of you, and that is a 3-micron filter. Making your way around the SX outrigger, you can see we have 2 subframe mounted toolboxes. So that gives you room to store your remote control and any tools and clamps. And below that, we have our frame-mounted 24 by 24 by 24 aluminum toolbox. Zooming in, we can see our driver's side outrigger controls. And then we have our outrigger working lights. Those are turned on inside the cab via the SCC controller. And then we have an e-stop and an outrigger push button. Zooming out, you can see we have a space between the rear axle and the fender. The customer is going to install a pusher axle, and we can do that at the factory if need be. Moving to the back of the machine, we have another e-stop button along with our work light socket, and then we have our agitator shutoff valve. So shutting that valve will heat the hydraulic oil and warm it up in case of cold temperatures. We can see we have a lot of storage options available. So we have a storage tray on the driver's side rear fender along with the inside of the driver's side rear outrigger. And then you can see we have another storage tray on top of the passenger side outrigger. So this is the standard configuration, but we have many options available. So you just want to check with your salesman to see which option works best for you. Back of the machine, we have our MROC hopper. It's 12 cubic feet, and it has an aluminum fold-down hood. And of course, inside that, we have our famous MROC valve. And that valve, of course, easy to clean, easy to rebuild, and that is exclusive to Schwing. Moving to the rear, you can see our rear operator control panel. So there's a 15-button panel along with our concrete pump and accumulator pressure gauges. Below that, we have our manual greaser for the rock and the hopper. Next to that, we have our 3-button panel, e-stop horn, and agitator reverse button. And then we have our water supply, water box fill, and water tank drain valve. Above that, we have our ram change station. So that will put the concrete pump in minimal output, and that assists when you are changing the rams. And below that, we have our water tank level gauge. Speaking of the water tank, it is a plastic tank and is 160 gallons. And because this machine is going to Canada, they have our optional tank heater. So that takes hot water off the engine and recirculates it through the water tank. Stepping up on the deck, you can see that 2023-5 pump kit. And there we have our water box, and then we have our water box drain shutoff valve. So again, in the event of cold temperatures, you can turn that valve, and that will shut off your water box drain and prevent that from freezing up. Up on the deck, we have our hydraulic oil cooler and filter combination. And you get a good view of that nice flat deck along with our 2023-5 pump kit. E-stop button right next to it when you're changing out those rams in the water box for safety. Stepping down off the machine and coming around to the passenger side, we can see we have two more subframe mounted toolboxes. So these toolboxes house our vector system along with our hydraulic valves. So in the first toolbox, we have our manual controls for the boom, concrete pump, and agitator, along with our e-stop and strobe limiter valve. So with all Schwings, in the event of loss of electrical power, you can run the machine manually from these valves. And then over to our right, we have our vector controller, and we have a little pocket on the side there that contains your electrical schematic. Below that, we have our passenger side outrigger controls, along with the outrigger work lights, e-stop, and outrigger enable push button. And again, we have another, below that, 24 by 24 by 24 aluminum frame mounted toolbox, and our outrigger pad storage. Moving back to the front of the machine, this is a beautiful blue color on this machine. And again, we're going to get another nice look at that 5-section roll and fold boom. And again, this is the S38SX. Thank you for watching, and please go to schwing.com to learn more.